Do I have to go in and close it again? Or?
Yeah, go. It's now called Bravo Team Part 2, the new video on the Let's Drone Out channel. So if you go click on it,
Okay.
it's a whole new feed. Oh, we're back. We're back. Excellent.
Sorry, folks. Technical issues. The UFO who passed over us sent some communication issues. I've been abducted for about 3 seconds, and I'm back. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
So just go on, mate. I was just going to say, just to pick up, because there was some really great stuff that everyone missed before we got taken out by aliens. Painless, you were saying about your thoughts about the Runcam split, and you think in terms of how it may have been a little bit rushed. Can you just elaborate on that for us quickly?
Yeah, I'm not sure where we lost the stream. So just to recap, latency is very low. It's kind of low 50s. It actually works really well. The camera's beautiful. The way it records is really good. There's a couple of little things about it, like the Wi-Fi board having to be plugged into the side, a wacky 90-degree angle that's never going to fit inside anybody's drone, does make it feel like it's kind of a version 1.0 of the product. Now, normally with Runcam stuff, I'm always really impressed that it feels so polished, because Runcam seem at the moment to almost want to make sure they have a camera for everybody. And in fact, you know, I've got a couple more here that we're about to have another look at. They're revising their current ones. But the split as it stands is great. I think if you want to do the split with the Wi-Fi stuff, I think we need to wait for version 1.1 to see if they have a slightly better way of how to integrate that. But to be honest, I don't think you need the Wi-Fi stuff. The way I've been using it is just stick it inside the quad on top of the flight controller stack before you fly, hit the button to start the recording, and at the end of it, you know, kind of pop your SD card out. That's the only other thing about it as well. The SD card, the way they've connected it, is normally with these kind of action camera thingies, they tend to have those spring-loaded micro SD card slots. So, you know, if it has a really good spring, if you catch it with your fingernail, it kind of flings it into the grass over your shoulder. They've opted not to do it on this one. The SD card holders, that kind that has a little kind of latch that you have to pull up to 90 degrees, put the card in, then push it over the top of the SD card and slide it in. So it's like the kind that you used to find in the back of some old mobile phones. Again, that's really, really safe. It means that card is never going to get ejected in a crash. But if it's in the guts in the middle of a quadcopter, right, you're not going to be able to get in to swap the SD card. So once that SD card is in and you've installed it, you've pretty much got to wave that SD card goodbye and use the USB connection for downloading your videos.
Yeah, it sounds like, as you say, it's 1.1 will be the way to go. This kind of expects you to accommodate for more vertical space than you would traditionally have in the kind of quads we're putting them in, and albeit that most frame designs are only getting more small, more compact as the more all-in-ones like the Betaflight board are around. You know, these stacks are getting smaller and smaller, and the split sounds like it needs some vertical space to plug things in and lift latches up and what have you. So, as you say, maybe the 1.1 version will be the real killer. But it must be great, certainly in terms of suddenly being able to lose a good 80 to 100 grams of weight off the top of your quad. So there must be some nice benefit from that.
It is, and the actual image itself, you know, the Runcam wide dynamic range is very good. You know, we're introduced, gosh, what, 9-10 months ago, and all the current cameras have it, and this one has it too. So even when you're flying in really nice, bright conditions, you're not losing any of that detail in the shadow, and it's not blowing the sky out either. So it performs really well. You know, I'm like you. You know, the quad. In fact, I've got one in front of me right now that I'm currently building, which is a 2 stack flight controller and power distribution board OSD. In this quad, I wouldn't have any room with this. It's a Seriously Pro. It's the F4 Neo with the companion OSD power distribution board I'm using for this one.
Sure.
But I've run out of room. If I wanted it to put inside here, I couldn't. I'd have to go with this kind of frame. It's one of those. Is it the GP7X5 or whatever it is? It's that I've used a couple of them before, but if I was going to try and put it in this frame, I'd have to use something like the Betaflight board, which is great, but you know, the Betaflight board isn't all things to all men. So it's, you know, it's a compromise, I guess. It's like anything at the moment, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I see
And-
Oscar Lang has put a GoPro lens on the front of his run cam and got rid of the props in view.
So the GoPro lens is narrower than the original lens. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I've seen on his feed and some stuff that he's put on Facebook and stuff. He's put a GoPro lens on and got rid of the props and the bit of the quad that he could see with the original lens. And
That's interesting, because I thought if the kind of GoPro lens is sitting around a 2.1, I thought. So does that mean that the split field of view is even wider than that, like a 1.8? Do you know, Painless, the answer to that?
Off the top of my head, I'd have to kind of dig out the specs and have a look at the website. But a lot of although the split at the moment, I'm not sure if it comes with changeable. I think as I've looked at so many cameras over the past 3 or 4 weeks, they're kind of blurring into one at the moment. But a lot of the Runcam ones in particular, you can buy different lenses with different fields of view. So if you want to have a slightly thinner, more narrow field of view to kind of miss your props if you're going to use it, then you can. While we're talking, let me just mute myself while I'm doing lots of typing. Let me just see if I can find the detail, and I'll if I can find it quickly, I'll talk about it.
Great.
There's
After you, Jack.
go on.
No,
It's that new board with the vibration isolated IMU.
Oh, the Holybro board.
The
Yeah,
Kakute.
yeah.
Great pronunciation, Andy. That is awesome. That's miles better than I'm going to ring you in future and ask how you pronounce these things.
No, don't do that, because every single video I post, I'm saying something wrong. Everyone tells me I'm saying Betaflight wrong, and it should be Betaflight. And
Yeah, but they're American. What do they know?
It's beta.
I say
Depends
beta,
how far
yeah.
up north you live. And then,
Yeah, I say Beta.
like the Revo turns into the Revo the further north you go.
Yeah.
Like the RPM quad.
Yeah.
Well, with that flight controller, I was told it's a Japanese flight controller. I don't know if that's true, and I was pronouncing it completely wrong. But anyways.
So was an A32.
Davey Boy says there's an option on the Runcam site to opt for the 2.5mm or the GoPro lens for the split.
Yeah, both field of view 165 degrees. So it's pretty wide, actually. I imagine on most quads, you're going to clip the edge of the props.
Yeah, I quite like the props in view personally.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it, to be honest.
Yeah. But if you go to the website, you can see that slightly wacky Wi-Fi board stuck down the side.
Yeah, I saw that 90 degree.
Yeah.
Just to plug it in and do settings on the fly and then go and fly. Or
Well, it is because it doesn't lock in place. So if you did try and do that and then had a crash, you'd never find it again. So it's almost like a temporary thing. But for me, it's almost redundant. It has an on-screen display anyway. And there's there's a couple of pull requests for things like Betaflight to try and put some of the settings so you can actually control Runcam cameras directly from the OSD in Betaflight, which will be, who knows how quickly that would arrive. But for me, I just forget the Wi-Fi, just stick it on, put an SD card in there and, pretend you're never going to see the SD card again, and then find a place to stick it inside your quad, and then you can get rid of the Mobius or your GoPro or whatever and save all that weight if you're a weight freak.
Where does it take the power from, Lee? So, I'm just concerned here with, powering up a sort of HD module, a camera. I mean, usually you'd plug your camera these days directly into the flight controller, wouldn't you? But, how does the sort of HD part of it plug into your power system?
Great question. So the way it works is, that little 3-pin cable that plugs into the back of a standard Runcam or a Fat Shark, with a ground plus 5 volts and the signal. If all you do is you unplug that little cable from the back of your existing camera that's in your quad and stick that camera into the only connector that's on the board itself, and that 5 volts powers everything. So all you have to do is make sure that 5-volt supply can handle the current, because the whole system itself runs about 660 milliamps.
Yeah.
So if you're running a
Wow.
really lightweight video transmitter that can only supply 500 milliamps for a little camera, it won't hack it. But I've been using it here with the Elites from Hobby King and the Immersion RC old transmitters and the Tramp, and they run it fine. They've got enough current on the 5-volt output to be happy.
I'm just thinking some of these all-in-one flight controllers now, you plug the camera directly into the flight controller. So for the 5-volt there, you could potentially have a problem, couldn't you?
I think the Betaflight one, the 5-volt reg on that is rated up to about, I think it's nearly 3 amps or something.
Oh,
It's quite well beefed up, but it's certainly something you're absolutely right, it's something to be cautious of, because I'm sure there are some other boards out there. It might be an older board that you like, but maybe doesn't actually carry that kind of current punch. So yes, definitely worth thinking about.
It's not a problem if you've got, I mean, things like the Brain RE1, you know, that's F4 flight controller, they've just revved their bits and pieces. So I think it's about 1.25 amps on the 5-volt out from that. But if you haven't got enough 5 volts in the system already, one of those little, you know, those little thumbnail size Maytech, they're bloody brilliant. And, you know, you can just stick one by the side of everything else, just have it running the 5 volts and just let that do it. I've got them in loads of little craft just to make sure that I've got a lovely clean supply for whatever I'm trying to run.
Yeah, they work perfectly for sure. So, Andy, I was going to say, well, how are you finding this this whole micro drone thing? Because I've got my first sort of proper micro brushless.
Oh yeah, which model is it?
It's the Lizard, and I did a couple of videos on that, and I'm just utterly stunned how. I mean, I really threw some quite hard acro at it, like I was flying one of my 5-inch, and it was. The power to rate ratio on these things is if anything better on something like 3S than 4S on a 5-inch. So it was actually incredibly capable, and I think that that whole side of things is now going to really start booming. But I've seen a lot come through your channel. So I mean, how are you finding it?
I mean, there's so many of them that, like, this week, if the Spark hadn't have turned up this week, I'd have been able to do 7 straight days of these micros, because there's so many. I've got one here, actually. This one's called the Awesome. Oh, they've got all sorts of different names. This one's called the Awesome 95. And the biggest problem with them really is I think you've got one of the best ones there with the Lizard, because you know, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about the powering the RunCan system, because a problem that a lot of these micros have got is making sure that there's enough current to go to all of the components. And I'm seeing a lot of models turn up with like a JST connector and a 2-cell battery, but then we're powering an all-in-one ESC board, we're powering a like Pico flight controller, they've stuck LEDs on there, we've got a buzzer, we've got a telemetry receiver, all going through, you know, a little JST wire. And one of the main complaints and one of the main issues that I see is you'll take off and you'll brown the system out, whether it be the ESC is not getting enough current, whether the flight controller resets, or you just fail safe with the receiver. You've got and another one as well is if they don't have an on-screen display, sometimes the camera VTX it can't draw enough current, and also the camera cuts out on full throttle. So there's a lot of things that needs improving. The best thing to do is build your own, stick a XT60 connect. Sorry,
30, yeah.
XT30. My only problem I have with the XT30 is I found out the hard way that they quite easily go in the wrong way. Which
really?
obviously,
Oh, I didn't notice that. Wow.
Yeah. If you like just take one that obviously isn't connected to anything and just twist it around, I think the tolerances of the plastic, because it's smaller, they will go in the wrong way. But I think it's got to be the way to go, because we're asking so much current from these models, and it's not working.
Yeah. Well, those JSTs are literally like little thin blades, so it's entirely possible that's literally a bottleneck to the system. So
Yeah.
More an oversight by the manufacturers, I would think, than anything. But yeah, the XT30s are a pretty good lightweight solution.
Well, the way that it works is these. Sorry, Jack. Come on.
They that's gonna totally do, Tony. You know, with the old like square peg in a round hole thing. You know, I got him one of those for Christmas. XT30s. Sorry, carry on, guys.
Yeah, so I think testing the Lizard, that's one of the best ones because that's got a XT30 on there, and also if you stick a high C battery, that's important for these micros, high C batteries, so that nothing browns out, or the community calls it flip of death, because a lot of the time they're RTF, so people aren't building them. But obviously when you build a model yourself, I've built a few micros myself, when you see it do a flip on its own in the sky, you know that something's not getting enough power, either if it's the flight controller or the ESCs. And
that would definitely fall into line with my experience as well. The batteries that I've used the one that came with it. I've got some 60C batteries coming along, and that I totally agree. A good strong battery that will hold its voltage will be a real performance booster. I mean, it's already great, and being so light obviously means low inertia. Not only is it incredibly crash resilient because it's not carrying any inertia, but also that when you are punching the throttle on these things, it's not got an enormous amount of mass to really cause a problem. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's great for that, but I think that's the only thing that I'm looking forward to seeing a sort of tangible difference is putting a 60C battery on it. But yes, but super interesting times that these are really becoming a thing now, and rightly so. The performance is great.
This is actually why recently I built the Pyrodrone Hyperlight Floss, I think it's called. YouTuber named FPV Kebab. He designs these really lightweight frames, but for 5-inch. So I think you were on to something there when you said that these micros, because they don't weigh anything, you can crash them at full pelt pretty much, and nothing really breaks. Sometimes the props don't even break, and I think that's the way that 5-inch is probably heading as well, because batteries aren't getting any lighter, but our components are getting lighter. The motors are getting lighter. We're having these all-in-one systems now where it's just 1 or 2 boards that's got your VTX in there, even sometimes a receiver and everything all in one. So those things are getting really light, and I think that's the way that it's going. And yeah, it's pretty exciting to see where it's going to go next, really.
Not really good for racing though, especially when you're doing up and over on gates. You do up and over on a gate and you need to get down quick. I don't like it.
Yeah, again, it's all down to people's specifics, what they like, the characteristics they like from when you fly it. See, I've got an Alien here, which is quite a heavy quad in comparison. So the Alien's like 600 grams, and then this Floss one is 410 grams, and I was preferring it. I thought it'd scare the hell out of me because of the power to weight and everything like that. But actually, it corners nice, and I was really surprised because I was skeptical about that for racing as well. But one thing I will say is that I don't do much racing myself, and I found that I didn't need a lot of the power most of the time because I just like fly freestyle. So I know a lot of people are going to these Floss frames specifically just for racing, but it's very specific to your style, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
Jack first.
Sorry, am I back? Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, we come up to like the hour mark, and I'm aware that Painless needs to nip off. So you talk about those multi-boards. There's no real redundancy. If you break something, there's not going to be another component, which leads me to the whole GMAC FPV Painless new Pixel video series. How's that coming along?
Really good, actually. I have my whole entire dining room table is covered with a very large plane at the moment with half of the build on it. So the next video is going to be up tomorrow, and then we'll very quickly be going on to the next 2 or 3. So if you want to kind of see them before they come out, then they'll be available in the playlist. We're going to stick it on the Talon plane, and then I was actually doing some training for the commercial pilot's license at the beginning of the week with some guys who have some very big toys. They're using the Pixhawk 2.1 in a couple of big planes. So what we might do as part of the series is actually go in a field and actually go through the whole thing from doing the mission planning, uploading it to the Pixhawk, and then flying a mission and downloading the logs, do the whole thing as like a practical experience. The other thing that's coming after that as well, in August, I've received my Vector. A couple of subscribers, well, more than a couple actually, a couple of dozen have been asking me to look at the Vector, and the guys at Vector have been brilliant and sent me one to have a look at. So we'll be putting a Vector in a fixed wing in August. So if there's anything anyone wants to see in that series, let me know and I'll try and cover it as part of that too.
Fabulous. Where's Jack? Still there?
Any other questions that we need to? Thanks, Digby Dan. I love the playlist too.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I'm just checking anything else. Like, no, I can't think. No, I haven't got any questions.
You were going to talk about, I think, Jack, when you mentioned about the problem of redundancy with these all-in-one.
Yeah, if you
ESCs
break something, how do you get around that?
You see, I was worried about that at first, but me personally, I haven't had a single one of these all-in-one ESCs fail so far. That was something I was really concerned about, but I think eventually everyone will switch to them because I found them really reliable. I've not had one burn up or anything like that, and they are lighter and cheaper than adding 4 ESCs. So like I say, I was really skeptical at first, but until one breaks on me, when one breaks, I'll probably change my mind and say they're absolutely terrible. But yeah, I'm liking it at the moment. I think, if you built a brushed micro quadcopter, the FETs are built into the flight controller. So, we're kind of getting towards that now, I think, where we're just having 1 or 2 boards. And yeah, if like, say, the VTX fails. So I think I reviewed the Fly Pro Tower, I think it's called, and that's got its VTX built into it. So if you burn a VTX, the entire thing's gone, really, isn't it? Unless you...
And that's quite an easy thing to do.
Oh, yeah, because it's just got a little connector. Are they called FLF connectors? It just pings off.
UFL or
something like that. Yeah,
connectors,
yeah.
UFO, UFL.
UFO.
So I just got a text from my mum. She thinks, right, tomorrow there's Shrewsbury Prison Ghost Hunt. It starts at 9 PM to 3:30 AM. Digby Dan, I think we're going to go to Shrewsbury.
I think we should do that. I thought we weren't telling anyone about this.
Do you both believe in ghosts then? Is that what it is?
We're doing a little mini something called I don't know.
Have you had
Fright Night?
Fright Night,
I'm
right?
basically gonna cry on camera and probably hug Jack.
I was inspired by the mini air show where Saggy Nun was really drunk and they were filming on their mobile phone with a torch, and you just see a flash of Saggy Nun really drunk, and he was making all like noises. And if you were to mute that drunk happy noise, if you were to mute that and put some sinister music over it, it would have been like, it was like something off the Blair Witch, because I watched it muted. What the hell is this?
Actually gonna cry on camera and like be hugging you and like hanging off your nipple and stuff.
Yeah, mate, if it gets too much, I'm out of there. I might believe in ghosts, Andy RC. I'm sorry.
You might believe in them.
I'm scared of moths, and I kind of believe in ghosts.
It doesn't matter, Jack, because it doesn't matter because they believe in you.
Yeah, that's it. You know, look, we've all got a little bit of tinfoil Tony in us.
Yeah.
You know, so Tony, where's your camera? Let's have a look at the balloon.
It's gone over. Have you seen my back? Look.
What the hell?
Is that a crop top?
I've been stabbed in the back. Stabbed in the back a few times.
I think someone tried to abduct him and they couldn't lift him up.
That is some kinky stuff.
Just stabbed in the back. That's all.
Can I ask you a quick question? Looking in the comments, there's been a couple about RTK. Now, it might be because it's very late, but what the hell is RTK? Because I'm trying to answer this question. I don't
Return to kitchen? Is it like, you know, when you're hungry and you're running out of power?
It's a kitchen, I like that.
You do spell kitchen with a K, didn't you?
I need to return to kitchen. That's where my wine is.
Oh, man.
I don't know. RTK, is it return to keyboard, like AFK is away from keyboard? I'm not entirely sure.
I'm going with return to kitchen. I think that's inspired.
No, if it's not a thing, we should make it a thing.
It is now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk. We'll get a mode made.
That's it. GPS. Return to crash?
I
No,
don't know, man.
I don't. Like, someone answer in chat. Someone Google it.
Where
Real
is it?
time.
And zero.
Real time something. Oh
Here
no,
we
I'm
go,
trying.
look, the new
It
picture
offers a RTK solution.
I think they're trolling us. I think that's what it is. They've done it. It means nothing.
That's it.
Mate, I would absolutely cry if you did, like, you know, get info and like dump precision GPS.
Like it's real-time kill mode.
Okay, right. Okay. Yes, we will. In that case, the answer is yes. We will be covering RTK. It's the way that you can use multiple GPS systems to give you almost centimeter accuracy with a GPS. So we will be looking at that. I won't be using it, but I'll be talking to the professionals who do and covering it as part of the series. Thank you, everyone, for staying with it. And it obviously is very late because I haven't got that far in the series yet, but we will look at. I am planning to look at that.
Also on. What is it? I can't remember. Something you should things you should know, or something on YouTube. Hang on, I'll look for the video. But I say that the reason why GPS is free, which is quite cool. I will Google it quickly.
Don't freeze.
And all that we call it. You know, some people don't like it, but you know, I'm quite fond of it. Why is this free? It was really cool. I just found it really interesting. I can't find it.
They use both GPSs, American and Russian, don't they? DJI do anyway.
It's Russian as well.
Yeah, they use both. Is it GLONASS and the American? I don't know. I know they use both lots of satellites.
The
Well,
drip's here. Everyone in chat. Yo, man.
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
guys should
yeah.
come on. You got Team Alpha with you?
You might have team
Hanging
A
out.
there.
I hope you guys are having a good time.
GLONASS, yeah,
Because
that's
the
it.
world's not flat. There's not much tech involved. Oh my god. They're always ripping you, man. Oh man.
I read that in some parts of the world they have to correct for GPS because the sort of land is moving very slowly.
Because it's flat.
Because it's moving very slowly around the sphere, and they have to change that. And there's some places that GPS doesn't work so well because the roads have moved and things like that.
Roads have moved.
Yeah, well, the land's moved. I think it's something like,
Yeah, because
Like-
we're moving at 1,000 miles an hour, if you can believe that.
yeah. Well, that's why
when
we.
a helicopter takes off and hovers, it can stay there.
Is that right?
1,000 miles an hour, and then it lands back down, and then we're in New York. Woohoo!
I think there should be a second podcast just called Flat Earth, and and we just discuss it.
I do.
I'm just having a little look. I think this is it. Control copy. Link in the chat. Yeah, why the US military made GPS for free. Cool.
Tell us so we don't have to look at it, please.
No, that's the whole point. I'm not smart.
Right, we need you need to lick a lens, Jack. Any lens for people, because you're back on the show now, and you need to be a lens licker.
That means like removing my camera. I will. On my next video, I'll do it.
No, you need to do it now. People are asking. You need to get a GoPro lens or something.
It looks like I'm going to make out
Oh
on the camera.
God, it was like an awkward kiss.
I've licked my secondary lens. That's the one that looks on my desk. It's probably covered in fluff.
I kind of feel like I'm missing something here. What's all this licking lens business?
It's
Lens licker.
Is it something that can be said on YouTube?
It's when your lens gets dirty.
Yes.
And then you know, like lawn mower, because your props cut all the grass into your lens.
Like
I always use
flying and you've had a crash. Basically, do you lick your lens or not, or do you just wipe it with your t-shirt?
I wipe it with my
Quite a lot of
t-shirt.
people- See, quite a lot of people lick lenses first and then wipe it with the t-shirt.
I get told off though, because apparently a t-shirt will scratch the lens. So I'm always getting told off for that.
It could do, but we're all
Hang
lens
on.
lickers here.
You're all lens lickers. That's a good advert. We're all lens lickers here. Yeah.
But then, to be fair, smashing into a wall at 35 miles an hour tends to make a bit of a mess of a lens as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, let's keep things in perspective.
I think you'd still lick it.
We're on that weird bus, that lens licker bus.
These rumours
Lens licker bus.
are all started by the people that sit there polishing their quads, obviously. No, not guilty of that at all.
No.
Says the guy who painted-
Drew,
painted the
you've got
You polish your quads with that.
No, I don't polish my quads, but I did go to the nth degree on one of my latest builds where I decide to paint the capacitor to match the canopy.
I am loving all the comments at the moment. Everyone exchanging their best way to lick the lens. This is interactivity at the highest level. This is awesome.
We tried to get it trending last week, but it didn't happen. Maybe this week we can get it going.
So should we all be posting then? What's the hashtag then for this week?
lens licker, isn't it?
Right, hashtag lens licker. Awesome. Everyone needs to do that then. Let's see where we can get that.
I know. Like Steel's got like FPV Life, or Let's Drone Out's got lens licker. Great. I just love that.
We're in that sunshine FPV bus.
Tony, that's not politically correct. Oh, this is why we have Andrew.
I'm literally tweeting now. Bear with me.
Oh, this is brilliant.
If that trends, I'm going to strangle you.
Tweeting lens licker. Absolutely brilliant.
I know Patches has got a really cool shirt. Patches made a really wicked shirt of my little cat thing.
He did, yeah. Check out Green Patches
So jealous. It's a lovely shirt.
on YouTube. Shout out to Bradders.
Awesome.
All I can say is Gary, i360.
What? Why doesn't has anyone seen Gavin's soldering iron from Western?
Yeah, it's getting a bit noisy.
People have
now.
started nicking things from events, and it's not cool.
Oh no, it's so not.
Man, he honestly wrote, "Watch Let's Drones Out." Hashtag lens. Oh man,
Brilliant. Let's have a look.
I did message Drew to be like, "Yo, I don't know."
I think they're probably traveling around though, aren't they? So
Yeah,
it might be difficult to do that sort of thing.
Yeah. No worries. Right. So yeah, should we leave it there, guys?
Yeah, that was
Sure.
awesome. Great. Thank you both very much for jumping on for a chat. Painless and Andy. It's good to have you, Andy. I know we tried to sort out a few to get you on, but yeah,
Yes.
brilliant. Thanks ever so
Yeah.
much.
No, it's been great to come on, and yeah, apologies that to cancel at short notice last time, but no, it's been great.
Oh, that's good. We'll
Life
always be
happens.
here.
Yes.
Welcome back anytime.
Thanks. Yeah, I want to come back. It's cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You know, part of me was hoping you would be running out of time.
Who's running out of time?
It's a Muse lyric, isn't it?
Oh, right. Yeah, no, time is running out.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Damn it! I ruined everything.
Yeah.
This is why we can have nice things.
I was like, I think that's a Muse reference somewhere. But that's. I knew you were going on that line. I'll just put the glasses back on.
Hashtag Lynn's Liquor.
Hashtag joke fail.
Return to kitchen.
So great to have Jack back from Laura. Yeah, I
Aw.
agree. It's nice having you, Jack, back, Jack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here,
I felt-
second that. Second that.
The
I
fun
was-
has come
I was-
back
I
to
was-
LDO.
Yeah, that's just Tony's having an effect on me. I was eating chicken nuggets and I couldn't eat them anymore. So
Good.
it's,
It's all good news. to
I
me.
think it's happening.
Tony, you have
happening.
realised though that it's obviously his first time and is a little bit rusty because we haven't had any talk about men's private parts, and he also hasn't talked about unicorns. Maybe next week.
Yes, that's next week, yeah, and there's something to look forward to.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's for the next 10 minutes of Tony. But Tony was distracted by a balloon.
Yeah, it was unidentified until I realised what it was.
Oh, we should say as well, just quickly, guys, a quick hello, obviously to all our regulars, but also the RC Addict who's just joined in the chat to say hi. Another awesome YouTuber and quite insane line of sight pilot. I think that's a bit of a dying art with quadcopters, but yeah, he's a very, very good line of sight pilot. So, hey Seth, how you doing? And yeah, I think that's probably us about there.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you say, Jack? Are we good?
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you guys for having me back. I wish I could remember the guy who wrote that. I'm always on one of the videos in that I'm not funny, and I'm really sorry that you had to put up with me.
It was only one
Tonight.
person, Jack.
My deepest apologies. If you want to send hate mail, we're going to be at what prison are we going to for our little ghost hunt?
I don't know, but
It's a prison.
Digby Dan, phone me. You've got to go. 9 till 3 a.m. Tony.
cry. I know I will blubber like a little girl.
I'm gonna need so many memory cards. All right, cool. Thank you and good night. Welcome back.
Nice
to the
one.
next
See you
Hangout.
guys.
Thanks a
Jack.
lot.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Peace out.